This is the CBS Evening News. I'm Charles Kuralt, sitting in for Dan Rather. Good evening. President Bush surprised everybody today with a quick new choice for Defense Secretary. He is nominating Congressman Richard Cheney of Wyoming, the second-ranking Republican in the House. Vice President Dan Quayle attacked the Senate Democrats who rejected Mr. Bush's original nominee, John Tower. White House correspondent Wyatt Andrews begins our coverage.
Almost 24 hours to the minute after he lost John Tower, President Bush introduced Congressman Richard Cheney as his new choice for Secretary of Defense. The president said he was in a hurry to make this selection and to see the Senate confirm his second choice.
I believe it'll go very fast, and I believe that it'll have smooth sailing. Why? Because of Dick Cheney.
Cheney is a six-term conservative Wyoming congressman who is well known for his political skills. He has had a history of heart disease, but says it will not limit him. He was highly regarded as President Gerald Ford's chief of staff and highly praised for his role on the Iran-Contra Committee, but even Cheney himself admitted defense has not been his specialty.
Obviously, there are areas that I need to know and that I'll have to work hard on to master, but I feel that I do have a depth of understanding now.
Cheney was first asked about the job last night by White House aides and formally selected after a long talk with the president this afternoon. Mr. Bush is eager to forget his troubles with the Tower nomination.
Look, that's history. We're moving forward with a new nominee.
Yet today, Tower was anything but history for the administration. Even as the president spoke of renewing bipartisanship, Vice President Quayle let fly accusations and rhetoric as bitter as anything heard in the Senate debate.
And we will not condone a new wave of McCarthyism in this country.
With the blessing of the Bush White House, the vice president accused Senate Democrats of using the slander tactics of Joseph McCarthy to defeat John Tower.
Everyone understands that this is not politics as usual, that this is trial and conviction by rumor, and it is a violation of standards of decency.
I think that's an absolutely outrageous charge, and I see that as a Democrat who happened to have voted for John Tower. I don't think that the charge is valid at all.
President Bush said he had not read Dan Quayle's remarks, but there was no rush to disavow Quayle. With the politically safe choice of Richard Cheney now on the table, the president is trying to take the high road, while Dan Quayle has been unleashed to describe the bitter partisan aftermath of the John Tower nomination. Wyatt Andrews, CBS News, the White House.
With the bitterness of the Tower defeat still rankling many Republicans, the Cheney nomination was just the prescription for bringing bipartisan harmony back to Capitol Hill.
I think this time around we'll have a confirmation, not an execution. I'm glad that it was done quickly, and I believe that will help put all the Tower matter behind us.
He's widely respected in Congress, and it looks to me like it would be a first-rate choice for quick confirmation and get on with the needs of the Defense Department.
The problems that plague John Tower, concern about his drinking and potential conflict of interest, appear to be no problem for Cheney.
I've known him for a long time, and I've got to tell him that I do not know what possible skeleton could exist in that closet.
I think that Dick Cheney would be very tough on the matter of reform in the Pentagon. I think he would be scrupulous in his handling of relationships to defense contractors.
The Senate Armed Services Committee will open hearings on the nomination next week, and a final vote on the Senate floor could come as early as the middle of next month.
I know of no impediment to his nomination, but we will go through the regular process. We'll do it as expeditiously as possible, but we will also be thorough and we'll be fair.
For most senators, the choice of Cheney came as a great relief. No one here wanted to go through another bruising fight, and now it appears they won't have to. Deborah Potter, CBS News on Capitol Hill.
And our Defense Department correspondent, David Martin, is standing by at the Pentagon. David, if and when Richard Cheney is confirmed by the Senate, he's going to have a lot of problems to solve over there. What would you say is the most pressing one?
Well, Charles, first and foremost, there's the problem of the Pentagon budget. Right now, this building is trying to cut $6 billion from its budget for the next fiscal year. And the day Cheney walks through the door over here, he's going to be faced with a stack of tough decisions he's going to have to make about which weapons to cut, which to delay, and which others to go ahead with. On top of that, he's got something called the Strategic Review, which is due in April. And that's a sweeping study of all the strategic weapons systems, the MX missile, the stealth bomber, Star Wars defense and how they fit into the defense strategy, into the budget, and into arms control talks with the Soviet Union.
And on top of all that, he's got something called the Pentagon bribery scandal, which is about to play itself out in the courts. What will be his role there?
Well, of course, he has no legal role there, but he is going to have to, in the next few months, come up with a plan for overhauling the process by which the Pentagon buys its weapons. President Bush has promised sweeping management reform, and it's going to be up to Cheney now to deliver, and that could well turn out to be his toughest task.
David Martin at the Pentagon. Thank you. Authorities are looking into the possibility that international terrorists caused an explosion today on a suburban street in Southern California. Jerry Bowen reports.
Police investigators suspect a pipe bomb destroyed the van being driven this morning by the wife of the skipper of the USS Vincennes, the ship that downed an Iranian passenger jet last July. Sharon Rogers was waiting for a red light to change in the northern San Diego suburb of La Jolla when she heard two popping noises from the rear engine compartment. Seconds later, the vehicle was engulfed in flames.
Just saw it explode. I mean, it went loud and it went hard.
We saw her, she was just tagging around, so we brought her over and put her in my truck. And then that's when all the cops in the world showed up.
Mrs. Rogers, shaken but uninjured, was joined by her husband, Captain Will Rogers, at a police station for questioning. His car was searched for explosives, as was the Rogers house, but nothing was found. After the Vincennes mistakenly shot down the Iranian jet, killing all 290 civilians on board, the government of Iran threatened retribution. Captain Rogers gave the order to shoot, believing his ship was under attack from a military jet. The FBI says revenge is one possible motive for today's bombing.
We certainly do not rule out the potential retribution to Captain Rogers for his past command in the Navy. But on the same token, this could have been perpetrated for some other reason unknown at this point.
The FBI is not saying what kind of explosive device was involved or how it may have been detonated, by timer or remote control. But investigators are checking reports of a suspicious vehicle seen in the area at the time of the explosion. Tonight, Captain Rogers and his wife are under heavy security, and security has been increased too at all Navy facilities in the San Diego area, especially at the home port where the Vincennes is docked. Jerry Bowen, CBS News, San Diego.
Still to come on the CBS Evening News, Susan Spencer on anguish about apples. And David Browning on the state of the art at the amusement park.
Freedent's the one. If you've got dental work, you've got 3 great reasons to chew Freedent gum. You know Freedent won't stick to your dental work, and Freedent freshens your breath. But maybe you didn't know that Freedent moistens your mouth. So if you hate a dry mouth like I do, chew Freedent.
Freedent's the one that took the stick out of gum, and Freedent moistens your mouth. Yeah, moistens your mouth and freshens your breath while you chew.
Non-stick Freedent moistens your mouth and freshens your breath.
See the colors of Puerto Rico, colors everywhere. Puerto Rico, the shining star.
Denture wearers, I want to get fresh with you. With my Mint Fresh Polident. It's got a minty mouthwash ingredient, so it freshens up dentures as it cleans tough stains. Try Super Strength Polident Green, the mouth-freshening clean. Ah.
Time's running out. Don't miss Red Lobster's Lobster and Shrimp Combination Celebration. 2 celebrated tastes, lobster and shrimp together. Tender grilled shrimp, luscious rock lobster, shrimp scampi, and more in 6 lobster and shrimp combinations starting at just $7.95. Kids platter $1.95. Catch the Lobster and Shrimp Combination Celebration at Red Lobster while it lasts.
And get a half-pound of snow crab legs for just $3.95 with any entree.
A Canadian jetliner crashed today in a heavily wooded area of Dryden, Ontario, 200 miles north of the Minnesota border. The Air Ontario Fokker F-28, bound for Winnipeg, had just taken off in a snowstorm with 69 people aboard. Some of them were killed in the crash, but rescuers used snowplows and chainsaws to clear a path to the crash site. and snowmobiles and sleds carried back at least 45 survivors. No word yet on what caused the crash. The Federal Aviation Administration said today an inspection of electrical wiring on all Boeing jetliners built after 1980 found 27 of them were wired improperly. The FAA said the wiring mistakes could have caused flight crews to take improper action in the event of engine or cargo compartment fires. Eastern Airlines reported today the lure of $12 fares brought passengers back to its Northeast shuttle flights on this 7th day of the Machinists' Union strike.
They have no mechanics there. You're going to die. For $12, you're going to die. You want to swim?
Meanwhile, some picketing spread to Continental, Eastern's non-union sister airline. Among the casualties of the strike and Eastern's bankruptcy are about 250,000 people who spent $300 million for prepaid, non-refundable Eastern tickets. The government said today that the nation's civilian unemployment rate dropped sharply, 0.3% in February. Some analysts said the country is now close to full employment, the point at which the available labor pool dries up. That's not the same as saying that everybody who wants a job has a job. But business correspondent Ray Brady reports the high employment rate is causing problems.
They're popping up all over, help wanted signs, as the nation's unemployment rate dropped to 5.1%, the lowest in 15 years. And with 289,000 new jobs created last month alone, many employers are having trouble finding workers.
In many parts of the country, the labor force participation rates are so high that we're almost tapped out of labor.
The shortage of workers is mostly in the Northeast and on the West Coast, but economists say it's spreading to other parts of the country. In today's figures, the big job increase is in low-paying service industry jobs. At the Woodfield Mall outside Chicago, toy store manager Ronnie Helford has raised wages trying to attract workers, to no avail.
If you look through the mall, every store is starving. There are help wanted signs throughout the year, throughout the mall.
The last time the unemployment rate was this low, 1974, President Nixon signed a bill raising the minimum wage to $2 an hour. That's what worries economists now. Rising wages for scarce workers could add fuel to an inflation rate that's already heating up.
Wages have accelerated. Wages are accelerating, and they will continue to accelerate given the very low unemployment rate.
So some economists worry that the Federal Reserve may have to raise interest rates again to cool off the economy and keep wages and prices from going still higher and bringing back inflation. Charles?
Right. Thank you. A week ago, President Reagan's former national security advisor, Robert McFarlane, was sentenced to community service after he pleaded guilty to lying to Congress about the Iran-Contra affair. Today, McFarlane testified for the prosecution at the Iran-Contra trial of his former subordinate, Oliver North. Law correspondent Rita Braver reports.
Former National Security Advisor Robert McFarlane is a key witness for the prosecution's contention that Oliver North was a maverick, providing military aid to the Contras without the approval of his superiors. And McFarlane scored some points for the government. Prosecutor John Kecker asked, "Did North tell you he was raising money to open a southern front for the Contras?" "No," McFarlane said. "Did McFarlane know about North's efforts to purchase airplanes for the Contras?" "No," again. But McFarlane also gave the defense some help. He said that President Reagan directed him to keep the Contras together body and soul during the time when Congress voted to ban U.S. aid for the Contras. And McFarlane said his explanation of the president's directive was interpreted by Colonel North to mean many, many things, including getting weapons. "I think I am responsible," McFarlane said. He also told of President Reagan's secrecy obsession about White House aid for the Contras when such aid was banned, including asking for help from third-party countries. McFarlane said that after he'd solicited millions of dollars in aid from another country, the president said if there were any leaks of that request, the senior staff would all be hanging by our thumbs in front of the White House until we find out who leaked.
When McFarlane returns to the stand next week, Oliver North's attorneys are expected to try to prove that it's comments like that from President Reagan that prompted Oliver North to lie to Congress about his pro-Contra activities. Rita Braver, CBS News, at the federal courthouse in Washington.
Treasury Secretary Brady unveiled a plan today to help third world nations that are drowning in a sea of debt. Commercial banks would be urged to write off some of the more than $1 trillion they are owed. That is $1,000 billion. To encourage them to forgive part of the debt, the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund would guarantee repayment of the balance.
They could see you now out on a friendship cruise, eating fancy food and doing what you choose. I'd like your friends back home to get a good look at the first-rate carnival cruise that you took. All I can say is, wow, hey, look at where you are. What a friendship, holy cow. They'd never believe it if your friends could see you now.
Take a 3, 4, or 7-day cruise on Carnival, the most popular cruise line in the world.
Sometimes I don't know what to believe. What food's good for you, what's not. But I guess I can believe reports from the National Cancer Institute. They say some studies suggest a high-fiber, low-fat diet may reduce the risk of some kinds of cancer. So I made some changes, like eating Kellogg's All-Bran. Just 1 tablespoon of All-Bran has more fiber than a whole serving of most other cereals. Am I going to change what I eat for breakfast? You better believe it.
High-fiber Kellogg's All-Bran. With low back pain, every step shoots pain. Up here. Know what helps?
Clinically proven Back Guard, a shoe insert. Watch how it absorbs foot shock to relieve low back pain.
Amazing. Something down here can help up here.
Back Guard from Dr. Scholl's.
Pepperidge Farm's Apple Crisp. It's a single serving of fresh apples with a Bordeaux cookie topping. Just enough for one. I like that in a dessert.
All is not in apple pie order between the nation's apple growers and the nation's apple eaters. The issue is whether a common chemical treatment makes some apples a health risk for children. Medical correspondent Susan Spencer reports on the scientific debate and the emotional debate.
In the weeks since the first report that an apple treatment known as Alar can cause cancer, apples have become the focus of a furious battle.
I don't want to eat apples now.
Apples are as safe to eat today as they've ever been.
And that, the industry proclaimed in newspaper ads today, means very safe indeed, claiming that the recent estimate that Alar would cause 1 cancer in every 4,200 children is vastly out of line.
And how can they go out there and create this fervor in America when the science of it really does not justify that kind of reaction?
The Natural Resources Defense Council, author of the report, is sticking by its numbers, though, and also disputes the industry's claim that Alar is only used now on about 5% of all apples.
The problem for the consumer is the consumer has no way to tell, looking at the apple, whether it was or was not treated, and they don't want to gamble about it.
Especially since Alar, unlike pesticides, can't be washed off. If it's used, it's in the apple. That prompted schools in Los Angeles today to yank all apples from lunches. New York City did the same earlier this week.
Well, we had no option. It was a non-decision decision. I thought to be on the safe side for the child, we would remove the apples.
The growers call such reactions hysterical and charge that they are being fueled in part by Hollywood, namely in an anti-pesticide campaign for the NRDC by actress Meryl Streep.
This is coming on the spoon into the mouth every day. 4 times a day you spoon that applesauce into the baby's mouth.
If the grandstand play and the Hollywood showbiz approach to it has an impact, it can be absolutely devastating.
But so far, the growers say the sound and fury hasn't signified much. Weekly reports show no big drop in shipments from the 7 largest apple-producing states. Ironically, this controversy erupted after the government said it expects to ban Alar by 1990 because there is a slight cancer risk. If there is any risk, environmentalists say, ban it now. Susan Spencer, CBS News, Washington.
My baby's name is Jessica, but the delivery was actually rather hard. You go through all the
child preparation classes, they don't tell you that the word is pain. Right after she delivered, they let me hold her. I could hardly believe she was mine. It was like they handed me a baby, and I thought, this was what was inside my stomach. The next day, they gave me Tylenol. It worked fabulous.
Christy Goza trusts Tylenol, the pain reliever hospitals use most.
Since the hospital gave me Tylenol, I feel real confident about it.
Now try new gelatin-coated gel caps, only from Tylenol.
Richard, let's make a deal. You loan me your new Cutlass Supreme and I'll fill her up.
Dad Olds gave me a year's supply of gasoline.
Marilyn, $50 to use your new Tornado.
I got $1,500 back from Olds.
Oh, Sharon, need help financing your Cutlass Calais?
I got 4.9 financing. Sorry.
This is not your father's Oldsmobile.
Hey, kid.
Let's make a deal. Let's make a deal. Let's make a deal on a new generation Oldsmobile.
Not this much. Not this much. Just this much. New Advanced Formula Kaopectate works fast to relieve diarrhea and cramps, and it tastes better too. New Advanced Formula Kaopectate, more than ever, the diarrhea specialist.
Ready?
In a minute, honey.
It's nice to be noticed for what you wear and how you look. And if you wear dentures, it's nice to know Efferdent freshens up dentures and cleans away stains so well. With Efferdent, all they'll notice is you.
The latest echoes of the 1988 presidential campaign are not pleasant ones for Michael Dukakis. Richard Schlesinger reports a confrontation is building in Governor Dukakis' home state of Massachusetts, in his own party, over the need to raise state taxes.
Michael Dukakis is back on the campaign trail.
Thank you all very much. Bill, thank you very much.
This time, he's trying to convince Massachusetts voters to support more than $600 million in tax increases to maintain public services in a state that has fallen into a fiscal crisis.
It takes resources to pay for this kind of a computer, but we can't open up these new prison beds without the money to pay for staff.
Dukakis signed one tax increase last year, and his new proposal has started a rebellion in his own party.
They hope to be safely across the Potomac River before it hit the fan around here. And sadly for them, they're not. They're still here, and it hit the fan.
The Democratic chairman of the House's Budget Committee, Richard Volk, has proposed his own plan that cuts spending and does not call for new taxes.
If you adopt the governor's policy, we're going to have a new tax increase each and every year. He's raising $600 million just to get by this fiscal year. He'll be $600 million short next fiscal year.
Dukakis is asking for more taxes as the Massachusetts economy is cooling off. What was called the Massachusetts Miracle once filled the state's coffers and sparked an explosion of business activity. But now business and tax revenues are down, and economists say the miracle was just a temporary boom in the high-tech and defense industries.
But that industry mix now has run its course, and just like an good old hunting dog that gets fleas occasionally, we've got a good case of fleas.
Last year, Michael Dukakis was the most powerful Democrat in America. But when he lost the election, he also lost clout here in Massachusetts. And in his new campaign to raise state taxes, you can hear echoes of the 1988 race.
If you're a chief executive, you've got to lead. You don't ask people to read your lips, you move ahead. And sometimes you have to advocate unpopular things.
Save our city! Save our city!
The governor's most vocal supporters are government officials and employees who worry that budget cuts will eliminate vital services. But leaders on both sides of the aisle in the State House predict Dukakis' tax campaign will be as successful as his presidential campaign. Richard Schlesinger, CBS News, Boston.
What's the one double-strength antacid doctors recommend most? Double-strength Mylanta 2. And what's the one double-strength antacid pharmacists recommend most? Double-strength Mylanta 2. After all, it gives you nearly double the acid-neutralizing power of any leading regular-strength brand. So for fast, effective relief, double-strength Mylanta 2. That's the one. And by the way, what's the one double-strength antacid hospitals use most?
Hallmark has a way to make an Easter dream.
Daddy, will the Easter Bunny find our new house?
Bringing out the very best in you.
From Crayola bunnies to colorful gifts and cards, Hallmark has hundreds of ways to make sure any home is filled with Easter.
Hallmark has a way to make somebody's day. When you care enough to send the very best.
Ordinary windows versus windowscaping. Windows, windowscaping. Windows, windowscaping. See the windowscaping experts only at the Pella Window Store.
It hurts. Sinus pressure and headache. It really hurts. Sinutab combines the painkiller and Tylenol with the decongestant and Sudafed to give you more than either one alone. It stops the pain. Sinutab stops the pain.
Well in advance, here's a forecast for this spring and summer. Thrills and chills and a groundbreaking earth-shaking. David Browning explains.
Hard to believe, but spring is only 10 days away, and already you can hear America screaming. Amusement parks around the land are gearing up for spring break and the summer crunch with a new and even more diabolical assortment of attractions for the jaded thrill seeker.
You always have to have that special idea and come up with a new ride almost once a year. That's the requirement in order to be competitive in this industry.
For instance, the Skyhawk that opened today at the Great America Park in Santa Clara, California, where, should you wish, you can personally rotate your flight capsule 360 degrees as it whirls around 60 feet off the ground. There will be various water attractions this year, like the Splash Waterfalls at Six Flags Over Texas, which drench not only riders, but grateful bystanders. Opryland in Nashville is putting the finishing touches on Chaos, an indoor roller coaster that zips by big projection screens, giving the illusion that you're flying through some sort of time warp.
We will explode the truck with the flame.
And then there's Larry Lester's project at Universal Studios in Los Angeles. Larry is the mad genius behind Universal's latest tour extravaganza, putting visitors through a simulation of a huge earthquake.
Anytime I have a suspicion of something, I just shoot it. How's it feel?
Larry has devised crashing trucks and trains, sparks and roaring water. And this day, as nervous executives stand by, he is explaining to the studio boss, Sidney Sheinberg, how he spent $13 million of Mr. Sheinberg's money.
About that time you get this, and then we hit the big one.
It turns out to be enough to shake anybody up.
I'm not only scared, I'm extraordinarily impressed. I don't think there's anything like this anywhere in the world.
So take your pick. Quakes, drenchings, flying upside down through the air. It's all opening soon at a theme park near you. Hold on to your hat and your lunch. David Browning, CBS News, Los Angeles.
And that's the CBS Evening News. I'm Charles Carroll. Bob Schieffer will be here tomorrow, and Dan Rather will be back on Monday. Good night.
Catch the NCAA Basketball Championship Preview Show, followed by live coverage of the Big East Tournament semifinals tomorrow on CBS Sports.
This is CBS.
Coming up next on Eyewitness News, a double shooting on Music Row leaves one man dead and police with little to go on. We'll have a report. Home buyers and builders beware. Some land south of the city may not be safe. We'll tell you what to watch for and ways to avoid landslides. And as loyal bingo players pack their cards and head for the Bluegrass State, we'll have a look at what it might mean for Tennessee. Those stories and Metro students in Metro government next on Eyewitness News.
All this week on Win, Lose, or Draw.